Hi, good morning, Salem High School. I'm Mrs. Knight. I'm the 10th grade assistant principal.
And I'm Mr. Moxley. I'm the 12th grade assistant principal.
Welcome to Term 2, SunDevil Summit Advisory. This morning, we're going to go over some student expectations in our presentation.
Salem High School's mission statement. Salem High School is committed to preparing students to succeed, achieve, lead, excel, and make a positive difference as productive citizens.
Safety first. If you see something, say something. Do not ever prop open a door for anyone. Redirect everyone to the main entrance or tell an adult. Always keep your classroom doors locked. A safe learning environment is a must for teaching and learning to occur. And we have to remember that's what we do here, teaching and learning. We will not tolerate fighting. Engaging in a fight will result in a recommendation for expulsion to the Office of Student Leadership. Positive decisions yield positive outcomes. Negative decisions yield negative outcomes and consequences. Why? Well, because we love you and we insist that you are the best version of yourself every day.
When you're out in the halls, students are expected to be using eHall Pass. You'll use this when you visit the Library Learning Center, the restroom, the clinic, school counseling, and any other location around Salem. eHall Pass can be accessed via ClassLink.
Lunch. Let's talk about some student expectations during lunch. As you all know, we have currently reverted back to our 4 lunches. So right now, in the cafeteria, that's our only designated place to eat. Make sure that you always clean up after yourself. Your mother would be incredibly embarrassed if you didn't. There are never any outside food deliveries here at Salem High School. We're currently running the 4 lunches, but we hope to implement 1 lunch again soon. If you need to leave the cafeteria, please see security to sign out. You're allowed to visit the library during lunch, but there is no food allowed in the library. Make sure that you're always maintaining our Salem High School lead expectations. During regular lunch or during 1 lunch, always showcase your best Salem self so we can go back to 1 lunch. Your behavior is going to determine our outcomes and how we move forward.
Speaking of those lead expectations at 1 lunch, let's talk about them. You're expected to use your learning. You use time wisely. You comply with staff requests. You collaborate with your teachers and peers. And it's really important that you attend tutoring and office hours to ensure that your grades are up to par. We want you to have empathy. Consider others and use appropriate language. Extend kindness and acceptance to others. If you see someone sitting alone, invite them over to sit with you. Apologize if you bump into someone. Consider personal space. Greet others, say hello, and please line up without cutting. We expect you to have awareness. Be mindful of your surroundings, especially when using devices. Walking and texting is dangerous. Control your personal volume. Keep the doorways clear. Wash your hands when you use the restroom. Limit time in the restroom. Get in there, get out. And always take what you brought. Lastly, be dedicated. Walk with a purpose. Attend club and organization meetings. Show integrity, which means do the right thing even when no one's watching. Be helpful in maintaining clean areas, including the bathrooms. And finally, always show respect for school property.
Thank you, Mr. Moxley. I think you're very empathetic. Let's go ahead and transition over to cell phones and what are our expectations with cell phones. Don't forget, this is now a Virginia Beach City Public Schools regulation according to school board policy. Students are prohibited from using personal communication devices during instructional time or in an instructional setting. Leaving the classroom during instructional time to use a personal communication device in another setting may constitute a violation of the Code of Student Conduct. Personal communication devices should not be used in bathrooms. Gross. Salem High School's expectation is that students will not use or have cell phones visible during instructional time. Here are the consequences for non-compliance with this policy. The first time, a verbal warning. The second time, parental contact. Third time, a teacher detention. Fourth time, referral to an administrator.
Speaking of devices, let's talk about the laptops and Chromebook expectations. You are expected to bring your charged device daily. And when that device is here, you're only going to use it for instructional purposes. Lastly, remember that you are responsible for that device until the time you graduate. So if for some reason it gets damaged or it goes missing, you need to report that to Mr. Dela Cruz in room 104A and do that as soon as possible.
Let's talk a little bit about digital citizenship. Be mindful of what you post on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and other social media networking sites. Do not post inappropriate material anywhere at any time. Regardless of the time that you post it, if it causes a disruption to the learning environment here, you're going to be subject to disciplinary action.
Let's talk more about digital citizenship. When you're on the internet, you need to make your own best decisions. One of the ways you can do that is just by respecting the opinions of others. But remember, there are almost 7 billion humans on the planet, and so we're not always going to agree with what each other says. So the best way we can show respect and earn respect is by giving respect. The other thing to remember about social media and the internet in general is that nothing out there is temporary. So anything that you've posted in the past or anything you're going to post in the future, that could come back around. And sometimes that can haunt you. So if you're ready to post something in anger or frustration, we'd like you to take a step back. Give it 24 hours, think it over, and then come back to that post. Colleges and businesses do check social media. There are many, many stories of students and adults who have been denied admission or even employment because of what they did on their social media accounts in the past. Do not let that happen to you.
I don't always agree with you, Mr. Moxley, but I always love working with you. Let's go ahead and now we're going to talk a little bit about behavioral expectations and how do we lead like a SunDevil.
Thank you, Mrs. Knight. Leading like a SunDevil is all about learning, empathy, awareness, and dedication. Learning. You are expected to attend class daily. Set some academic goals for yourself. Study daily to make sure you hit those academic goals. You need to complete your assignments and participate in class discussions and activities. You're going to show empathy. You're going to be kind and compassionate to your peers and to everyone in the Salem community. You're also going to show respect to everyone in the Salem community. And finally, you're going to look for ways to make the Salem community better. You're going to be aware. Being aware means knowing what you're doing here in school. So that means checking on your grades, checking on them through Student View, staying current on what's going on around Salem. When you're in common locations, be aware of your surroundings. And finally, arrive to school on time and arrive to class on time. Lastly, you're going to be dedicated. Life is not always going to be easy, and neither is your time here at Salem. But when you're confronted with resilient things and you're confronted with adversity, you're going to show that resiliency. You're not going to give up. when you're not successful in the first attempt. If you're going to be part of an extracurricular activity or a sport, you're going to honor that commitment, and you're going to be committed to being the best version of yourself.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some frequent obstacles that our students encounter. We're going to look at attendance, tardies, disrespect, defiance, class disruption, class cutting, dress code, cell phones, usage in the classroom, and social media issues.
Excessive absences and tardies. If you're 15 minutes late to class, then you're absent from that class. If you're even just a minute late to that class, you're tardy to that class. And if you're tardy, you need to go to the front desk and get a tardy pass. Seniors, if you have late arrival or if you have early release, the expectation is you check in at the front desk. Please do not go out a side door. You cannot be accounted for. That also creates a safety issue here at Salem. School hours are going to be from 7 a.m. to 2:20 p.m. unless otherwise posted. And finally, when you are absent or for some reason you're tardy and miss a class, you need to know what your makeup work is. That's your responsibility. That's going to vary from class to class, so check on your teacher's expectations and submit that makeup work as soon as possible.
All right, behavioral expectations. We've got no time for the 3 Ds here at Salem High School. What are the 3 Ds? Disrespect, defiance, and disruption. If a grown-up at Salem High School gives you a reasonable request, your only job is to comply. Make sure that you always respect yourself, your classmates, your teachers, all staff, and your school. It's always a great day to be a SunDevil. Let's talk a little bit about our dress code expectations here at Salem High School. We're very proud of our dress code here at Salem High School. Several years ago, we had a committee of stakeholders that included students, parents, administrators, teachers, and we came up with our dress code expectations. The modicum is modesty, cleanliness, neatness, and appropriateness. Those are the standards for our dress. Why? Because we have a lot of respect for what you do here at Salem, learning, and we have a lot of respect for what your teachers do here at Salem, teaching. So again, modesty, cleanliness, neatness, and appropriateness are the decorum. What's decorum? Decorum is essentially there's a time and a place and a dress code for everything. So to exhibit that respect that we have for everything that we all do here, let's look at the little infographic. Over on the left-hand side, you see the wrong way to look here at Salem High School, and over on the right-hand side, you see the right way to do things here at Salem High School. If you have any specific questions about the dress code, you can always review the Student Code of Conduct, which is online, and we have printouts, paper copies of our dress code here at Salem in the main office on the counter. Behavioral consequences. What are some consequences for misbehaviors? There are teacher detentions, there are lunch detentions, there are Wednesday detentions after school that are 3 hours from 2:15 until 5:15. There's in-school suspension. You can be assigned anywhere from 1 to 3 days of in-school suspension. There's out-of-school suspension, which can be assigned anywhere from 1 to 5 days. And then we have a program here called Choices with our student support specialists, Ms. Jackson and Mr. Hall. And then we have long-term suspensions and expulsions. Those go through the Office of Student Leadership.
Now let's hear a little bit about health and safety from our resident health expert, Miss Nurse Jamie Mountain.
Hi, good morning. Good habits are important to your overall health. What we do to and put in our bodies matters, and we need to be aware of the consequences of our choices. Let's explore one habit that is problematic for many teens. Let's talk about some common misconceptions about vaping. Vaping remains a public health crisis. It's a big crisis here at Salem High School. It's a small device, but it's a big problem. 1 in 5 high school students are vaping. And I want to tell you some important facts to share with you. Vape aerosol can contain harmful chemicals such as formaldehyde. It's also a problem with secondhand vaping. Because it's an aerosol, it lands on objects, and that means animals and other siblings and other children can touch that aerosol and put it in their mouths. Consider that. It's a secondhand vape. You're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting others. In addition, because teens are not able to purchase this legally, you don't even know what you're getting. There are also many dangers behind the flavors. Vapes can get their flavors from chemicals. While these flavorings may be safe for food, they're not safe to inhale. Inhaling flavors, chemicals, can harm your lungs. In addition, most vapes contain nicotine, which is highly addictive. Vaping delivers nicotine to the brain in as little as 10 seconds. A teen's brain is still developing, making it more vulnerable. And nicotine exposure during the teen years can disrupt normal brain development. It may have a long-lasting effect. Some e-cigarettes may contain as much nicotine as a pack of 20 regular cigarettes. In addition as well, vape aerosol could be delivering metal particles. The vapes get hot and then they cool down, and you could be inhaling nickel, lead, tin, and aluminum right into your lungs. These metals are toxic. I want you to consider if you're vaping, do you have signs of addiction, cravings to these vaping products and tobacco products? Are you feeling anxious or irritable? Continue to vape despite negative consequences and going out of your way to e-cigarette or to vape. I think you should think about quitting. Save money, focus better. It reduces anxiety and just in general, better health. If you need support to quit, please look at the posters around the school that have the QR codes or stop in the clinic. Ms. Gill and I are more than happy to help you out.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Deloach, our Assistant Student Activities Coordinator.
Good morning. This is Coach Deloach, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that there are many opportunities available to get involved at Salem. We have a large offering of clubs and sports, and I bet that with a little research, you'll find something that fits your interest. We have a ton of clubs such as SCA, Black Student Union, Tabletop Club, as well as spring sports gearing up like track and field, soccer, lacrosse, baseball, and many others. You can find a list of all of the clubs offered by visiting our school website and clicking the Student Activities tab. So what can you do to figure out where you fit in? A good place to start would be by attending Salem school-wide events such as academy performances and sporting events. FYI, the varsity basketball teams play at home tonight, by the way, and I've got 2 free tickets to the game for the first student to stop by room 109 and guess my lucky number. Next, I'm challenging everyone to try out for a sport or join a club. Try something new. 90% of life is just showing up.
Who's most responsible for your success? You have to remember that you are.
Okay, so now we're going to transition to your SunDevil Summit advisory teachers who are going to take you through a great assignment together in class, just to kind of recap everything that we've talked about here this morning. Mr. Moxley, can you go over the matrix that we're going to be working with with our SunDevil Summit advisories?
Absolutely. Just like you saw during the presentation, we're going to ask for your feedback about what learning, empathy, awareness, and dedication looks like around Salem. We'd like you to determine what that looks like in the classroom, the learning environment, in the common areas, and in lunch. You're going to work with your teachers and your classmates to come up with ideas about what this looks like for learning, empathy, awareness, and dedication in each of these areas. Lastly, we want to end on this note. As Mrs. Knight said earlier, positive decisions yield positive outcomes, and negative decisions yield negative outcomes. Because we love you, we insist that you be the very best version of yourselves every day. And remember, it's always a great day to be a SunDevil.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great SunDevil day.